Thanks for hanging out for so long, since time is getting shorter and shorter, and this is getting late. So, okay, let's start. Let's start with a question that I think everybody's been thinking about today. What is human and what is work in a superhuman future? I kind of wake up to this question every morning. I know it's there's a better question to ask yourself in the morning. How is the coffee? What do you want for breakfast? This is what I think about. You've seen this before, that guy making backflips. Do you remember the Beatles? Yeah? Do you remember this band? No, of course you don't, because it's artificial intelligence. The band has 1,700,000 followers. That's more than any band I know have had during my amateur days. This music was composed to mimic Beatles. This dude is mimicking humans. We talked about creativity before. So we need to really ask the question, what is human and what is work in a superhuman future? And we have these powerful questions, and maybe this opens up the imagination. So first, let's start with the future. What is the future? How does it work? What are the mechanics of change? And we need to ask these questions. What is the future? How do you grasp it? How do you describe it? Right? Okay. And I think we need to also understand, why is the future so important for us? What do you think? I think it's very simple. It's just pure Einstein mechanics. We will spend the rest of our lives in the future. So I was thinking that, if we get together in these conferences and do good shit, maybe we can design a future we actually want to live in. That's why the future is so important. Now, so imagination about these futures is number one. Number two, to understand about the future, is that it comes in an exponentially faster flow all the time. We talked about it today. You know of Singularity University, I guess. You know about exponential thinking. But what gets me every time is how little the brain can compute on that. And I love this exercise. If you take 30 steps ahead, everybody knows that you will be 30 meters ahead, right? If you take 30 exponential steps ahead, where would you be if you double every time? You done this before? The moon? It's a good guess. If you double every time, complete the sequence. Mathematicians, where are you? Where's the coffee? There? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very, very far away. Yeah, that's the human answer to that. And you need that reference. It will be 25, 26 times around the globe. And if you compare how you're thinking and planning for your future, if you think linearly, because this is how your DNA, this is how the monkey brain works, linearly, and compare how the future actually moves with what speed, we need to rethink. We need to sit down and calculate. That's number two, imagination and think exponentially. Spend time with it. And I use this example for the third attribute to how to understand futures. It might be banal. I've been using it a lot, but I still love it. Convergence of technologies. You play with Barbie? Yeah? No? Good. Maybe, I agree with you. Maybe this is the time to start. Have a look.
I'm going to be a scientist. Oh, wait a minute.
Have you seen this before?
A scientist.
Eureka! A scientist. I think science is so amazing. Why do you want to be a scientist?
I always really liked chemistry and physics in school.
The study of physics is incredible. Take gravity. You can't see it, but the second you trip, it's right there to pull you down. Did you ever fall or trip on something?
Yeah, unfortunately, all the time.
It happens to me all the time.
All the time.
That's gravity, pulling you down.
Right? If you want to make a sexist joke, you can almost take her out for dinner. But it suits Martel, one of our customers, by the way, so I'm not judging, I'm just reflecting. You can almost have a sort of a Miss World Trump kind of a quality of a conversation. With a toy for €100. €100. I bought it from Amazon. I lost it as well. I need to buy a new one. What does it mean? What's the bigger story here? Well, it obviously Wi-Fi connected, something everybody here takes for granted. It was pure magic 20 years ago. It's connected to the cloud. Cloud computing is happening right now in front of your eyes in that little thing. The CPU power is something you did extremely important work on 10 years ago in that little plastic thing. And so on. So natural language processing, which is part of artificial intelligence, coming together to have a conversation about science. And I try to talk about science with Barbie in the mornings, but in the mornings she's programmed to talk about breakfast. So that didn't work, so she's not that smart. Now what happens if I like this example because again, you need to imagine the bigger designs of the future. What happens if the kid that's playing with Barbie is hungry? And Barbie senses that because there's sentiment analysis, or maybe the kid says, hey, I want a hamburger. And Barbie is connected to the internet. There's Google, there's Amazon, and there's drones. So there can be a hamburger produced in front of the kid within 10 minutes. And obviously, she's connected to some kind of bank account from the parents, right? That the kid hacked. Now, that could happen. Is that a good future? I don't have an answer. It's a good question to ask. Now, if the hamburger is stolen by other kids, bullies, bad people, and Barbie records that with her eyes, and there's face recognition, and there's an address, who does she call? SAP? I work for SAP, by the way. Mattel? The police? Hi? Is this the police? It's Barbie. I just send you a picture and an address and the phone number to the parents because a crime has been committed. Futures to be imagined, accelerating so fast they're unexpected. That's the mechanics of futures. This young entrepreneur in a developing region has more power of information than the US president not so long time ago. And I'm pretty sure he understands much more of that than the current president. So, futures are exponential, so beyond our natural human understanding. They are absolutely unexpected. They're converging in ways that we can't imagine, but that's the thing. We are humans, we actually can imagine them. So let's go to work and do the human work, imagination, and then they can be fantastic. Now, if that's the human work, new work, imagining and articulating future, fantastic futures, here's one articulation. These guys are going to space. And the reason for that are many, but here's one. Japan is constructing machines that will work on the moon for us, okay? Investing billions in that. One of our customers is making a new Audi Quattro to run on the moon. Yeah, they're doing it right now. They're 3D printing that thing together with Google X and so on. Joel Sorcel that I met last summer, he worked for NASA for 17 years, then he quit because NASA is apparently boring. He started his own company, Transastra. He's making that thing, that thing. That's Joel. And he will shoot it up in space. He's making a prototype there. He will shoot it up in space, capture asteroids, like any kind of Bruce Willis in that movie, remember? And he will direct solar power to squeeze out fuel or propellant, gases or whatever, from the stone. And if you ask him, which I did, we had a very nice bottle of wine over this discussion. Joel, why are you doing this? Is expensive and dangerous. Martin, don't you understand? We will live in space and work there. We will have 7-Elevens and vacation in space. We need gas stations. He's doing the Wild West. He's building the railroad. This is happening as well. So, and if you don't think we will work in space because there's no business there, this is a picture from NASA of a stone that is worth, and try to say that without laughing, 8,000 quadrillion pounds. It's a Harry Potter number. It doesn't exist. But it does. It's only the minerals and the metals on that stone that would make that business. Yes, we can articulate these futures. This is human work to do that. We are good at it. Imagine shit. Another, by the way, tax money paid for this articulation, this animation. This is NASA's animation of a gravitational station. Second articulation. This is happening. We are connecting ourselves to the neocortex won't grow much. the next 10,000 years, promise. But it will be connected. This lady is controlling a computer with her mind. She's paralyzed, and she can type by imagining that she's moving her hands. Yeah, she types 8 words per minute. Again, I ask you again, think these 30 exponential steps, not linearly. What can she do 10 years from now? She can probably do that. This is not, you know, or whatever we imagined in our creativity. Brain interfaces, you know, if we can connect to the world and compute on it and feel it, maybe this is the first evidence of global empathy. We can know everything everybody knows. And anybody in this room can calculate the 30th exponential steps, not only you. Because we have that knowledge like that. Third articulation that is pretty interesting. This is hardware, all of it. Very transparent hardware. Glass, you know. That is wood, but transparent. That is aluminum, also transparent nowadays. Possible. Science, you know. And that is a solar cell. What does it mean for architecture? What does it mean for energy? Well, if we can build houses and beautiful environments that give us light and energy at the same time, you build a house, you have energy, we get strange effects. For example, California was bleeding money on wholesales of energy because their technological innovation was so fast, so their business model didn't catch up. They had more energy than they could sell from solar power. Now imagine this energy everywhere. We may be demonetized energy, most probably. There will be energy for free. What does it mean for our businesses, our work? What can we do instead of fighting over oil? Yeah. And then we print our car because we want a sports car this weekend, and then we can recycle it because this is local motors. They don't believe in big car factories. You print a car, you use it, you put it back in the 3D printer, and so on. Yeah, they printed it in 3 days some years ago. This is UK government that's imagining, wait a second, if your car drives you, it needs to be charged all the time. Let's do this. Obviously, this is a Photoshop exercise. But you know, once we imagine this, maybe it can happen. This is how human brain works. If I tell you, we will go to the moon within 10 years, and we're bringing the guys back, we just do it, right? It just happened. Dubai wants these guys, small drones, driving the streets with little drone in the air, patrolling. This is the new police in Dubai. They're trying it out. And then you have the Hyperloop, so you go for lunch in New Zealand and come back to Berlin. Yeah, that's possible as well. And then, you know, that's no problem because globalization, because blockchain technology maybe can store very securely everything that is ours and reveal it very, very trustfully to others. And Australia is planning to have a face recognition system in airports so you don't need your passport. 2019, yeah. And then you've been driven to your, maybe in Shanghai, your 3D printed house that is probably 1/10 of the price, built by robots, right? And what I'm showing you is actual prototypes. So I'm not bullshitting anyone here. This is prototypes of things that could happen, and I ask you to do the job of imagining something awesome. This could happen, right? And then you put on your leisure clothes, and they have sensors. They're Under Armours and Asics or Adidas, or for free. They have sensors that can today, this is from Japan, pretty neat, sense your heart disease, maybe even cancer. What can they sense tomorrow? I mean, this is a DNA sequencer you can order today. $1,000. $1,000. You plug it with a USB to a computer. You know what DNA sequencing cost during the 90s, right? Governments come together to do this. Governments. You can order it now. And the prediction is that, you know, going to the toilet because you need a break, flushing the toilet will be cheaper, or sorry, will be more expensive than sequencing the DNA. Probably the DNA sequencers will come with your toilet, included. And then we have sensor development that is absolutely incredible. This picture has a backstory. This guy is Newton, is his name, from Great Britain. I forgot the university. And he showed this to me. Martin, this will go into your brain. He was very sure that this is going into my brain, the gray bit there. And then I can collect data from your brain. And he's doing it right now. But his dream is to put data there, he said. So he wants to collaborate with me, obviously. But we can do small things today. That thing is, I mean, tiny, tiny. Imagine that exponentially later. Maybe we can have neural dust that contains information. We can drink it, and all of a sudden information is implanted in our bodies or extracted. Maybe you can smoke the language of French. That could be possible. Yeah? Or drink a Spanish wine and be fluent in Spanish. Again, the future have never been so close to us. The now is so temporary. And many people don't understand this, especially in big companies. In the background, you can almost see the Kodak moment, the famous, what's his name? Steven Sassoon, the inventor of the digital camera. Nothing happened. They just said, no, you know, we have our diagrams, they don't, and your project doesn't look good. Actually, the projection is like this. It's going to go to hell. They weren't thinking exponentially. This is why we have these stupid discussions about great ideas. This is why many people still make faster horses or whatever you want to, or actually want to make something great again, turn back time, which is ask Barbie. That's just physically not possible. We don't understand our customers ourselves. We don't have the empathy. But if we do, many of us are getting really empathic about our business, customers, our environments, our ecosystems, our teams. Empathy is great business. We happen to be the 10th most empathic company in the world, with Netflix, Alphabet, Facebook, and so on. And at last, we have numbers, correlation up to 80%, that you perform better if you're empathic. 2 times increase in value. And you make more money. Empathy is good business. That's the tool for creating the future. And World Economic Forum predicts that 2020, which is quite soon, complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity will be the top skills, the gifts you can give to the world if you want to work successfully, awesomely in the future. Emotional intelligence and cognitive flexibility. 2 newcomers on the list, the top 10 list of what humans will do at work. Awesome list, isn't it? Because it sounds human. Right. So observe change. Change is rapid, exponential, unexpected. Observe that. Spend time there. Imagine what you could do with it. That's your design brief. That's what we should do. And we have new tools nowadays. I mean, the data collected, I'm pretty sure it was mentioned here 1,000 times in all the conferences you go to. The amount of data will grow exponentially. I don't know, a wind turbine today can collect more data than 300 million tweets or tweeters can do in one day. That is happening. So that's enormous content. And as you know, content is king, right? We love that. Content is king. But context is King Kong. That's yeah, I know, it's funny. Context, I love context. The sense-making, the human value of the information. Catherine Fake, the lady that started Flickr, fantastic entrepreneur. Wonderful woman that understood the social context of the data of pictures. Yeah, you can put pictures in your database. It doesn't mean shit until you call it art, memories, family, hobby, or whatever human thing you can call it, and all of a sudden it's a success. That's what she did. A social animal. She understood the context, the social context of the digital photography. Now she started a new company, Hunch, some years ago. I love it. She asked questions. This is my questions. Do you know what a cat wants when it meows? Yeah, it wants food. Love, maybe, and then it wants to go away. Do you prefer berries on top of your yogurt or underneath? So see, important questions, human questions. But in the end, very important questions come along, like, would you tell a kid that is adopted? Do you love your job? Do you get enough sleep? And all of a sudden, they had, what was it? I need to cheat. 80 million answers to 2,000 questions. 80 million answers, that's a lot of data. Seemingly unrelated data. So all of that content, where's the King Kong? Here it is. You put algorithms and mathematician called, not Tom Dixon, but something else. Mr. Dixon, he started to calculate this and could tell us very, very surely that if you like Pepsi more than Coke, you believe in UFO. Yeah. If you read Wired magazine, where are you? Yeah. You prefer redheads. If you use fake ID, you've been a teacher. You use a Mac, you're a dancer. Yeah. If you like the Cookie Monster, you believe in life after death. You know, data doesn't lie. You just need to ask the right questions. And we do have these algorithms. We can understand our social context, our human context, maybe even our human condition, beyond our own bias. And that's amazing. So see, data is useless. It's like potatoes in the ground. It just rot unless you make something more valuable, information. But nobody wants to get informed. That's rude. I'm here to inform you. Nobody wants that. You need to share knowledge. That's the human work. Maybe if you do it enough, we get some kind of wisdom. And that's valuable. And if you do product, don't make features. Maybe you put them in a bag and call it a product and say, here you go. No, you need to serve it. You need to build a relationship. And if you design anything that will happen in the future, which is the default, start with designing the relationships you will have. What are the relationships we will have to each other, to the machines? What will machines have for relationships to each other? The rest is easy. Almost. You know, okay. We understand the futures, now we can design them. Start with empathy, build relationships. Articulate them very, very well, because only then you can have a decent conversation. Otherwise, people will be guessing what I meant. Make a picture, make a movie, and use the new tools. We talked about AI today a lot, showed you some examples. So we can focus on the human stuff. Maybe we can become human at last. You know, because the third industrial revolution introduced the scalable efficiency, predictable results, you know, secured outcomes. All these things made this planet fantastically rich. We live longer, we have better schooling than ever, and more peace than ever in the human history. But it's coming to an end, as we discussed today as well. This is third industrial revolution stuff. It also described very well a computer program. Predictable outcomes, scalable efficiency, right? So if you can tell me exactly what you do, I can automate you. Someone said it, I think it's beautiful, because that's it. Let's be human, let's be unpredictable. Let's be creative on the stuff that haven't been designed before. Like, hey computer, please mimic the Beatles. That's easy. I think this is the description of the new work, because human creativity is not, as someone wrote in a beautiful blog, not adjusting margins in your Word document. It's actually writing that love letter to someone, or a science paper, or a contract. Maybe this is work. I'm playing with this. Now the prototype starts to come in my slides. You will notice the quality of the graphics. Surface, this is work. Surface, foster, and optimize our individual gifts. And gifts is different from skills. Gifts are skills you can give. You can share with someone. Because if you go to an HR department, they're all about your skills, right? And education. So, individual gifts to create a higher value in feelings, wisdom, and self-actualization for ourselves as individuals and for things around us, the ecosystems around us. Could be your team, could be this globe. That's work. And if that means to smoke that French cigarette and write a beautiful poem in French, that's fine. That's work. It's awesome. Or if it means to cure cancer because you have a gift in science, do that. Now, this is probably a secret, so I stole it. I tried to get it's a book coming out soon. Two guys I need to mention, oh, there they are. Eric Beinhocke and Nick Hanauer will release this book. They are economical historians, researchers. So this was socialism. And this was sort of the values, the key institution, a source of growth, source of value, and the method of allocation. So you redistribute the value if you're an old school socialist. Didn't happen, really, yeah? It kind of, I was born in Poland, 1970. So I know what the socialist redistribution meant. It just didn't work. This is what we're doing today. We trickle down. Works well? No, it doesn't. It trickles back up. We have this enormous pyramid of the 1%ers or the 1 percentile. So individualism, you know, let's compete, let's be rational in our goals. I have the individual freedom to compete with you and you and you and you. So it's basically everybody against everybody. And they were thinking, what's next? What's soon? Came up with this. Let's allocate it so we can middle out. Let's not, source of value is not currency, it's solutions. Let's cooperate. Let's be evolutionary in the process of change, not reactionary. They studied it a lot. And if you read these key words, you can very easily build a narrative. So I'm back to design a future you want to live in. Let's make a narrative. I just made it yesterday. The emergent complexity is simplified by evolution and recombination of ideas, gifts, coming back to that, values, thoughts, and through cooperation. That would be nice, right? So because we're hitting much larger complexities every day than ever before. The world is more complex, it always will be. That could help, right? And then heuristic objective crafting, so we're back to holacracy, and personal fulfillment systems, like I feel good about giving you this gift because I am a scientist, towards common purpose drives reciprocity and inclusive ecosystem of individuals. I'm just reading what they wrote and I'm just trying to make sentences. This drive leads to solutions, not hoarding currency, right? That are distributed from middle out back to the reciprocal ecosystems. So we can start again and simplify even higher complexities, like cancer or living on Mars. That could be future of work. So what is the smartest app? And I mean, again, I'm still with SAP. We're doing business software and all that. What is the smartest system out there in the world? I think it's very, very simple. It's the one that makes you smarter. If it doesn't, it's not smart at all. You know, we need to augment the machines with human reality. Only then they can augment us with any kind of virtual or augmented reality. I think I'm still playing with this. This might be the 6 points of future intelligent systems. First, they need to know you. But not like, I know your password so I can help you to get in. I know what projects you have access to. No. Know you in such a way that it respects you. Knows your ambitions. In that way. So it can help you beyond your own bias. Martin, you're doing that again. You always fail when you do that. Can I help you? You're biased toward that kind of behavior. You know psychological biases, isn't it? And it helps me in each of the situations I'm in, because I can be project manager 1 second. I'm serious. Next, an email comes in, and I'm negotiating budgets, right? Next, an email comes in, and I'm an employee because my boss wants something. Next, I'm handling people because people report to me. Each situation different. And then, I just missed my son's football match, so I'm a bad dad. And the system needs to understand that situation. And when it understands me and my situation, we can learn from each other. This is the machine. This is the human machine, the symbiosis between human ingenuity and machine intelligence. And then it learns, it automates all the bullshit, and it augments you to a superhuman. And it's exponentially systemic. If this is in place, I think we have a good chance to do something awesome. And this could mean this, for example, self-running enterprise systems. So administration and management, and being a CEO, it's not jobs anymore. You need to focus on something else. Imagine fantastic futures. It can augment me, so immersive experience based on human behaviors, ambitions, work patterns, and so on. So that is stored and then reflected back to you, so it nudges you to a better you, maybe the optimal you. New business models. So how can we put purpose as a bottom line? Ask that, your controller. Self-organizing business ecosystems. How can we be so granular in our ecosystems of businesses so everybody gets a chance because they can communicate efficiently with everybody? Here's an example Or just an imagination of such a system that is not really possible today, but maybe it's worth working for. I think it is, and we're doing that. Hey, Newt. Newt is a manager. So she's driving a team. And this is someone tells her that, or something tells her that, I should say. The more your developers travel together with your designers, the better employee satisfaction KPIs you get. There is a relation to higher performance even. Wow. How many Excel spreadsheets would you have to do to get that information? There is a relation where here are 3 conferences that members could go to that travel the least, because people like to travel places because it's good for them, for their imagination. And I found a route so they can sit next to each other so they can talk face to face. Wow. And by the way, if you switch from a window to ice seat on tomorrow's flight, you will most likely, and here's the math, 87%, be more successful in your budget negotiation. According to your travel and performance data, do you want to change? Of course I want to change. I'm just a human, you know? These things can be possible. Another sketch, just to end up. So, the superhumanity, to being human, ambiguous, and all these things we are, and to work in a superhuman future, you know, it's a little bit like this. Complexities hit us, and we want to simplify them. And there's 2 things. You can simplify through automation, and you can make complexities work for you through augmentation. And we've been trying to do that since hunting and gathering and then factories and all that. It just, yeah, the human output is just a little bit better. Maybe in stages with each of the revolution. I think it's going to change. It's going to grow exponentially. We will be in a superhuman flow. The human machine will happen there. And maybe this is the human activities. Just a few of them. Curiosity and purpose crafting. What's my purpose? Try to find the school that doesn't tell you how to become, but rather tells you why and why you should do something. I was, you know, that kind of a professor. Challenge the status quo, complex ideation, deep questioning, fearless experimentation. This is what humans are great at. Machines are not. Because we program ambiguity and ambivalence. What a fantastic human condition. To argue about bullshit. Can we get 5 minutes to do that? Write poems and make art that we don't even understand ourselves. Maybe at last we will have time for that. Maybe at last we can do this, you know. Become human at last. And I'm saying that to provoke, because maybe we've been hunting and gathering and filling in Excel spreadsheets so much so we don't know even what we could be. Maybe we've never been fully human. Maybe that's what we think is superhuman. Maybe it's our time to take these giant leaps. Speaking of giant leaps, last thing. You've seen this before? It's funny. This is a travel voucher. Pen and paper, 1969. Someone made a business trip and they wanted their gas money. What is it called? Travel expense, right? It was a gentleman called Aldrin, 69. He used a company vehicle. It was a government spacecraft. He went to the moon. Yeah, this is Buzz Aldrin's travel expense. And he had to do this to get his $33 back. Give me back my money. Yeah, and it's him tweeting about it. Look, couldn't we spend his ingenuity, curiosity, ambiguity, all that human awesome work to do something else? I think so. I really think so. I won't ask you who wrote this music, because it's obviously artificial intelligence. It's called Aiva. Genesis is the piece. It's nice, no? Yeah. So look, if we come together and start to think in these ways, understand the futures, articulate them, in such a way so we can have a clever discussion, so we can have time to argue later, and you know, go beyond the bias that is built in our DNA, which is okay, that's a human condition, and start to augment ourselves with these skills and automate every bullshit that we're doing today. Maybe actually we can design a future that we want to live in. I have no idea who wrote this, but it's beautiful. You're a ghost, driving a meat-coated skeleton, made from stardust, riding a rock, hurtling through space. So fear nothing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Martin. Thank you very much. A very, very a very, very Hollywood ending to a very, very
it's good, no?
long day. It's very good.